Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of the Sunday School Review. This week's Sunday School lesson is entitled Continued Proclamation, and it's taken from Psalms 71, verses 12 through 21. Now, the book of Psalms is a collection of praises, thanksgiving, lament, and prophecy, expressing the people of God's emotion. And they are talking about God's mercy. Now, again, the book of Songs is made up of a collection of authors. Now, David did not write all of the Psalms. He wrote a lot of them, about 73, I believe. And Asaph wrote Psalm. Solomon even wrote 3. And Moses also wrote 1. And there are 51 Psalms that the author is unknown. Okay, now Song 71 is one of those 51 songs in which the author is not known. Now, the author, as we get into it, is an older gentleman. He's an older gentleman, but we don't know who actually wrote Psalm 71. As I said, David wrote a lot of them, but David did not write this one. Okay, that is Psalm 71. Now, let's talk about our lesson. Our lesson has 2 outlines. The first outline is a resolve to praise, and that's chapter 71, that is of Psalms, verses 12 through 17. Now, the second outline is a resolve to leave a legacy, and that's verses 18 through 21. Okay, now let's look at our first set of scriptures here. That is a resolve to praise. That's verses 12 through 17 of this 71st Psalm. And as I said, we see that this song was written by an older gentleman. Now let's read verse 12. That's the first verse. It says, "O God, be not far from me. O my God, make haste for my help." So in this first outline, this psalmist is requesting God's help, and he's requesting it in a hurry, in a hurry, okay? He is requesting God's help, that's verse 12. He's requesting God's help, and he says, make haste for my help. So he's requesting God's help, and he's want that to be soon, okay? So let's go to the second verse, verse 13. Let them be confounded and consumed that are adversaries to my soul. In other words, at this point right here, he's experiencing problems. Not saying that he has not experienced problems any other time in his life, because as I said, he's an older gentleman. So most likely he has experienced other issues, but he's experiencing problems. And he requests that his adversaries, okay, verse 13 says, let them be confounded and consumed that are adversaries, my adversaries, to my soul. Let them be covered with reproach and dishonor that seek my hurt. Okay, so he's requesting God's help. He's requesting the Lord's help. Okay, let's go to verse 14. Now, so he's requesting help, and 12 and 13. And let's go to 14. 14 said, but I will hope continually. Okay, and will yet praise thee more and more. So he goes from help to praise. In other words, he's saying, yes, I'm going through a difficult situation and I request your help, but I will continue to praise you. I will continue to give praise, and I will yet praise thee more and more. In other words, I'm not going to throw in the towel. I request your help and I request it soon. However, I'm not about to abandon hope. Okay, let's go to 14. It says, but I will hope continually and will yet praise thee more and more. Okay, I think I read that, but anyway, I will hope continually and will yet praise ye more and more. In other words, I will give you perpetual praise. Now, in other words, it's the essence of what he's saying is what David said. Now, David did say this is from a song of David. I think it's the 34th song, verse 1. And David said this, I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. Now, that is from a song of David, okay? That verse there. As again, I said this song is not a song of David, but the psalmist in verse 14 is that I will hope continually and pray and yet praise. So he's saying essentially what David said, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continue to be in my mouth. In other words, I will give him perpetual praise at all times, continually. That is perpetual. Okay, that's what he said in 14, this psalmist. Now, let's go to 15. My mouth shall show forth thy righteousness and thy salvation all the day, for I know not the numbers thereof. In other words, I don't know how long I have left, but my mouth shall show forth thy righteousness, not my righteousness. You know, he said thy righteousness and thy salvation. So it's not my righteousness. It's not, I don't have any righteousness of my own. I don't have any salvation of my own. He said, my mouth shall show forth thy righteousness, your righteousness, and your salvation. And that's what we should be saying. Thy righteousness, your righteousness, and your salvation. So that's what he said. I will give you perpetual praise. And verse 14, and I will show forth your righteousness, thy righteousness, and salvation all the day, for I know not the number thereof. In other words, I don't know the number of my days, but for however long I have, I will continually praise you. I will give you perpetual praise. Okay, let's go to verse 16. I will go in the strength of the Lord God. I will make mention of thy righteousness, even of thine only. In other words, I will speak of your righteousness only your righteousness, because really, that's the only righteousness that is worth talking about anyway. The scripture said our righteousness is as filthy rags. So our righteousness is as filthy rags. So we don't have any righteousness to talk about anyway. It's the Lord's righteousness. We have the imputed righteousness of Christ. That's the righteousness we have. So it's all about his righteousness, not about our righteousness at all. And that's what the psalmist is saying. I will mention thy righteousness, even thine only, because that's the only thing that matters in the final analysis. Okay, let's go to the last verse in this outline, which is verse 17. Oh God, thou hast taught me from my youth. As I said, this psalmist here is an older gentleman. He said, from my youth. Said, thou hast taught me from my youth. So this man here has a history with God. He's talking from experience. Now, when you hear somebody talking from experience, you know it. Well, they're not just talking off the top of their head. They are speaking from wisdom and experience. And this is what we have here in Song 71. An older man that is speaking from wisdom and experience, because he has a history with God. So he has trusted God from his youth. Verse 17 again. Oh God, thou hast taught me from my youth. Okay. And hitherto I declare thy wondrous works. So this man was introduced to God at an early age. And he has a history with God. He has experience with God. He has experienced God's deliverance. Yes, he's had some issues. He's had some problems, as we're going to read a little bit later too. He had some problems, but God has been faithful. And he's talking from experience. He's not talking from a couple of years. He knows. Yeah, I've had some experience with God, and he's speaking from a position of wisdom and experience. Okay, so verse 17, again, thou hast taught me from my youth. As I say, he was introduced to God at a young age. From my youth, and hitherto I declare thy wondrous work. So he has seen God working. In other words, he's seen what God can do. He's seen how God has delivered him in the past. So he knows. Okay. So that was verse 17. That's the end of this first outline. A resolve to pray. So he said, yes, I'm experiencing something right now, as he talked about in verse 13, about his adversaries. Yeah, I'm experiencing something right now. Okay. So, but I'm going to still praise you. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to throw in the towel just because I know you. We have a history. I know your wondrous works, and I trust you. Okay, let's go to the next outline is a resolve to leave a legacy. That's verses 18 through 21. Let's go to verse 18. Now also when I'm old and gray-headed, oh God, forsake me not until I have shown thy strength unto this generation and thy power to everyone that is to come. So this outline is talking about a resolve to leave a legacy. In other words, to leave something for the next generation. 18 says, when I'm old and gray-headed. As I said, this is from an older gentleman. When I'm old and gray-headed, okay, don't forsake me. I have shown thy strength until I've shown my strength to the next generation. He's talking about leaving a legacy to and being able to instruct and inform the next generation. Because as I said, he has some experience. He's talking from wisdom. I want to depart my wisdom to the next generation, to the younger generation, and tell them how God has been faithful to him. It's not a teenager and that contemporaries is telling them, well, hold on. How do you know? Have you experienced? No, I haven't been through it. But this man here can tell them, yes. Back to 17, thou hast taught me from my youth. I was introduced to God from my youth. So I can tell you something. Now I'm older, experienced. I can depart wisdom to you. So he's talking about leaving a legacy for the next generation to help them to be faithful and to make it. Okay, let's go to 19. Thy righteousness also, O God, is very high. Okay, basically now he's talking about what God has done. He's praising God for what he's done. He said, our righteousness also very high, who has done great things. You've done great things. Oh God, who is likened unto you? In other words, there's none like you. You've done great things. There is none like you. So he's praising God for what he has done for him. Okay. 19. Thou which hast shown me great and sore trouble shall quicken me again. In other words, and this is again, he said, I've been through some tough times. Verse 20. Thou hast showed me great and sore trouble. I've been through some rough patches. Okay, but you shall quicken me again. Okay, so this is the voice of experience. He has hope that God is going to deliver him in this situation and restore him. Let's make sure we read all of 20. Thou hast shown me great and sore troubles. Shall thou quicken me again, and shall bring me up again from the depth of the earth. Okay, so he has confidence and hope. He hasn't given up hope. He hasn't abandoned hope that God is going to deliver and restore him. Okay, 21, which is our last verse. Thou shalt increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. So he, even though he's been through a lot, he's an older gentleman now, he still has hope, and he still vows to be a continual blessing to the next generation. He said, thou shalt increase my greatness. I'm old now, but you're still going to increase, you're going to increase my greatness even in my old age. Okay? And give me comfort on every side. Okay, so hope is not gone. Even though I've been through difficult situations, you have been faithful to me. So I'm going to remain faithful to you. And that's what he can impart. That's about his legacy. That's what he wants to impart to the next generation. As I said, I think it's verse 18. To show strength into this generation, the next generation. He has the wisdom and the experience to impart this to the next generation, that don't give up. God didn't give up on you. God is not going to give up on you. So don't you give up on him. Yes, I've been through some troubles, but God has been faithful. And that's his resolve, as David said in the 34th Psalm. And as this psalmist also said in so many words, I will bless the Lord. I will perpetually praise you. Been through some troubles, but I have not abandoned hope. And that's our lesson today, continued proclamation. In other words, I will continually praise you. I will give you perpetual praise. And that's our lesson today. We'd like to thank you for watching. We ask you to join us next week for another edition of the Sunday School Review. Thank you.